I used to imitate the Carol Burnett show all the time when I was a kid. I used to imitate Tim Conway. You old man coming, shuffling and going over here. And all that stuff. So that was my childhood, was Carol Burnett. I got a letter back from Hollywood. It was like the greatest day of my life.
That's incredible.
Everything went into slow motion. Like that. It's just ideas. Right. They're just ideas. The only thing that separates you from an African American or an African Canadian is an idea. Difference between depression and sadness. Sadness is just, from happenstance, whatever happened or didn't happen for you. And depression is your body saying, fuck you, I don't want to be this character anymore.
But I didn't freak out, I used that time to eat a large meal. Connect with someone special on Tinder. Because life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. How do I know this? I don't, but I'm making sound, and that's the important thing. That's what I'm here to do. Sometimes I think that's the only thing that's important, really. It's just letting each other know we're here. Reminding each other that we're part of a larger self. I used to think Jim Carrey is all that I was. Just a flickering light, a dancing shadow, the great nothing masquerading as something you can name. Seeking shelter in caves and foxholes dug out hastily, an archer searching for his target in the mirror, wounded only by my own arrows, begging to be enslaved, pleading for my chains, blinded by longing and tripping.
I know you all have heard the phrase, everybody makes mistakes, countless times in your life, and maybe even said it to console someone and encourage them to not dwell on a misstep. Sometimes when you aren't listening to those inner voices and the knowing of your own purpose, you can get off track. And even when I know how to listen, sometimes if I don't listen, I get off track really quickly. Life is like a wave, and you ride it through the ups and downs, the steady times, and then you anchor yourself in the storms. A mistake is a life experience designed to move you in a different direction. And a mistake might be more important to your supreme destiny than even a triumph. Know that your life is way bigger than any one experience. So when those mistakes happen, you use them to guide you to the next right move. Learn from it. Ask, what is this here to teach me? And then let it go. Life will give you whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of your consciousness. And how do you know this is the experience you need? Because this is the experience you are having at this moment. 2020 Vision Tour. I met this reporter in Miami. We took some photos together and she said to me, Oprah, next time you see me, I'm going to be so much skinnier. And I replied, well, the next time I see you, hopefully you're going to be as healthy as you can be in that moment. Because right now, this is as healthy as you can be in this moment. And the next time you'll be as healthy as you can be in that moment. I told her to be kind to herself. And she looked at me and said, how do I do that? Well, it starts with loving right now who you are, all yourself, your flaws. Take a moment to look at what is really running through your mind about yourself that may be holding you back. The energy of the universe responds to positivity. And so if you're telling yourself you're not slim enough, you're not good enough, when that negative chatter starts in your head, stops, lean away from it. When you let those thoughts of not being enough seep in, you can't really act out the best of yourself. The power of staying present. I believe that when you're fully present, that's when you're actually fully alive. When you need to focus on what to do or what to do next, the focus is just that. The now becomes your everything. That it's one of the most impactful spiritual practices, knowing the power of now. Living integrity means living in a way that honors your truest self. It's doing the thing that you know you're supposed to do. Only you know what that feels like for you. Everything we've covered in the past several weeks. Examine any moments when your head saying one thing and your spirit is saying another.
The thing that makes God amazing, one of the things that makes God so amazing is that he can come to you on your level.
You don't have to come from a religious tradition or a faith background for God to reveal himself to you. He can reveal himself to you through a rock. He can reveal himself to you through a piece of bread, because he is the rock of ages and he is the bread of heaven. He can take something that you do understand and use it to reveal something that you don't understand, so that nobody is left out. God wants to put you in a place of still waters. He wants to put you in a place of still waters, not hurricanes, not tornadoes, not turbulence of any kind. He wants to put you in a place of still waters. There may be turbulence all around you, but he wants your center to be still, to be calm. You must have a calm place in order to deal with all the chaos in your periphery. You cannot have still waters until you release or let go many of the things that are distracting you and invading your space. Seemingly, when the enemy knows that God is going to use you in a mighty way, he does everything he can to upset the very genesis of your life, to kind of set you on a path of destructive behavior, to limit any self-esteem that you might have. He doesn't do that. He doesn't fight anybody that's not destined to go anywhere. But when he senses that there's greatness inside of you, the attack comes early. You've been through all kinds of stuff, and that is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of greatness. And over a period of time, God begins to bring forth his purpose. Most people get up out the bed in the morning to see what's going to happen. And then there are a elect group of people who get up out of the bed to make something happen. You have to decide which category you're going to be in. Either you're going to get up on the bed and sit on the side of the bed and say, well, Lord, what am I going to do today? Or you're going to wake up with an agenda and an urgency and a direction and a focus. See, when you got direction, you resist distraction.
When you're moving through life and you have a plan or a dream and it shatters, you know, someone dies or a relationship breaks apart, or you have a terrible upset in your career, or you become ill in some unexpected way, then everything around you falls apart while you plunge into a chaotic underworld.
The belly of the whale.
That's exactly right. Yes, exactly that. And then maybe you stay there, because it isn't necessarily the case that people get out. You know, people die, people are in despair permanently, but frequently something tragic and terrible befalls you and you fall apart. And you learn something profound as a consequence, and you put yourself back together. And when you come back out, you're more than you were when you went in. And that's happening at a small scale. Every time you learn something, you know, if you ever really learn something, it's usually painful. It usually means that you have to recognize that you're wrong in some important way. You have to let that part of you that's wrong die. And then you have to let a new part of you. Okay, so the self, imagine that you undergo a series of transformations in your life. There are collapses into the chaotic underworld, and then mini resurrections. That happens continually.